I finally played Far Cry Primal in 2025 and I have some thoughts. This game always caught my eye because let's be real, there aren't many games that let you explore prehistoric times. I grew up loving the Ice Age movies, so when this game was announced, it definitely had my attention. But for some reason, I just never got around to playing it. Until now. Now, if you're like me, someone who has been on the fence about Far Cry Primal for years, thinking, is this game even worth playing in 2025? Or maybe you just played it back when it came out and you are wondering if it still holds up. Or hey, maybe you are just vibing, snagging on something and need a long video to keep you company. Whatever the case, I got you. I've played it, completed it, and now I'm ready to share my honest thoughts. This isn't just a quick review. I played for like 40 hours and this is a full-on breakdown of my experience. So let's get started. First up, I want to talk about the thing I like the most, the setting and open world of the game. Primal is set in 10,000 BC in the fictional land of Oros, which is inspired by real-life Europe, and I have to say, Oros is simply beautiful. I stopped so many times just to look around. Seriously, one of my favorite things in the game was just walking around, soaking in the environment and listening to the ambience. Just have a look. The game has so many cool and stunning locations. The forests are dense, like really dense, with tall, never-ending trees and fallen logs everywhere. There are wide flowing rivers with mountain ranges and massive ice glaciers in the background. Then you have got these dark, confusing caves where you will find ancient cave paintings. And the nighttime in this game is so good. It gets really dark, but under moonlight the whole world looks stunning. Like here, look at how the moonlight scatters through the trees and fog. And sometimes in the northern regions, you can even spot the northern lights shining across the sky. Absolutely stunning. Ubisoft really nailed the nighttime atmosphere in this game. Oh, and sometimes the game has this warm orange hue, and that looks so freaking good. Overall, exploring the open world in Primal is just amazing. It's super immersive and genuinely made me feel like I had traveled back in time. Another thing that makes the open world so fun to explore is the diverse wildlife. First of all, seeing animals that went extinct thousands of years ago, that alone is awesome. Like the aggressive but majestic woolly rhinos, their super rare variant the two-horned rhino, freaking saber-tooths, which you can even mount and pet. And giant mammoths, just to name a few. All of them are recreated with so much detail. It truly was an awesome experience for me. And the wildlife doesn't just interact with you, they interact with each other too. While playing, I saw some wild stuff. I saw an eagle attack and literally fly away with a goat. I've never seen that before. It eventually dropped the goat and it came crashing down. Another time, a mammoth was drinking water from a river, and suddenly, out of nowhere, a crocodile jumped out and attacked it. So cool, right? And yeah, if there's an animal in real life that could attack you, it probably will in Primal too. Like, I was just healing myself and out of nowhere, an eagle straight up dive-bombed me. Oh, and the most important bit, you can basically pet almost any animal in the game. One thing I noticed early on while playing Primal, I died a lot, at least during the first few hours. Like here, I was just watching a bear take down a goat, admiring the wildlife. But as soon as he was done with the goat, he turned and came straight at me. I was scared as fuck. For a second, I forgot the controls and he jumped right on me. My heart was absolutely racing. I tried fighting back, but I quickly realized I was way too underpowered to take down a bear. My gamer ego was completely shattered, so I made up my mind. The next bear I encountered was going down, and here he was again, eating a goat. Also, aren't bears supposed to be herbivorous? But anyways, didn't matter. I was just ready. Just kidding, I wasn't. I got humbled again. It was tough to accept, but I honestly love when a game draws that line. When it makes you feel vulnerable and tells you, yeah, you are not ready for this yet. After that, anytime I spotted a bear nearby, I would go out of my way to avoid that path. But in the back of my head, I knew, as soon as I upgrade my weapons and unlock some new skills, that bear is going down. And eventually, it happened. I ran into another bear and I knew it was time to settle the score. Also, did I mention how cool the fire mechanics are in this game? Fire is something every Far Cry game does well, and Primal is no different. At one point, I took down a wolf using a spear that was literally on fire. Felt awesome, but a few minutes later, I realized the entire forest was burning. Grass, bushes, even trees had caught fire. The game basically tells the story of a tribe living peacefully in Oros until two rival tribes arrive and everything just goes to hell. One of them is a group of barbaric, cannibalistic Neanderthals. The other, a bunch of advanced but sun-worshipping psychos. One wants to capture you and burn you alive as a sacrifice to the sun, the other literally wants to eat you. The game's protagonist is Takar, a member of a hunting group that lives outside of Oros. But after a mammoth hunting mission goes horribly wrong, he ends up in Oros and discovers the broken state of his tribe. From there, he sets out on a mission to rebuild and make the tribe great again. Now, for me, Primal's story wasn't anything super special or memorable. It was fun and I was somewhat invested while playing, hoping it would build to something more impactful, but those moments never really came. What did stand out to me though were the cast of characters. I think the game's antagonists had great designs and interesting backstories, but the weird thing is, after their introduction, they barely show up again until the very end of the game. The side characters though, much better. Each one has a unique backstory or personality trait that I will definitely remember for a long time. Without spoiling too much, there's a girl who hates the cannibals so much that every time she kills one, she cuts off their ears and wears them as a necklace. Weird, but hey, it's 10,000 years ago, I'm not judging. Then there's this guy with only one arm, and the bone from his other arm is still exposed. Turns out the cannibal tribe tried to eat him alive, but he somehow escaped. But my favorite character, Urki. He has nothing to do with the main story, but dear god, Urki. He is the funniest character in the game. Every time you meet him, he has some ridiculous problem he's trying to solve. The first time I met him, he wanted to fly like a bird, so he told me to go get him some feathers. Then the dude jumps off a 50-foot cliff straight into a pile of hay. It was actually a nice little reference to Assassin's Creed. Except this one was way more realistic. Poor Urki. The second time I met him, he had a spear stuck in his stomach and wanted me to build him a spear-proof shield. And the last time, he wanted to smell like bears. So he covered himself in whatever bear scent he found and immediately got mauled by a bear. The best part, even after all that, you can still hear him groaning in pain in the background. He somehow survives every single one of his experiments. What a legend. Oh no. Some missions in Primal are actually really unique, and they were one of the main reasons the otherwise okay story still felt fun to experience. Like there was this one mission where I had to climb the peak of a mountain in search of some rare feathers. And this mountain had a full-on platforming section. I was using the grappling hook to climb, swinging from one hook to another, and squeezing through narrow gaps. While climbing, I stumbled into a cave and for the first time ran into snakes. They weren't deadly, but they were guarding some pretty nice loot. Then, as I stepped out of the cave, a bunch of eagles attacked me out of nowhere. I mean, sure, I was there to steal their feathers, but come on, that was pretty rude. So the next time one of those fuckers tried to do that again, I did what I had to. I kept going, climbed to the summit, and started gathering the rest of the feathers. Eagles were everywhere, constantly attacking. One of the feathers was right at the edge of the peak, and after I collected it, you know what? My gamer brain had to jump. Like I really wanted to see if I would survive. And guess what? The game literally told me to jump from the peak. I love when devs just get what the player's thinking. So I jumped, and it was epic. One mission had me searching for and hunting a super rare tall elk. But here's the twist. Rival tribe members were also after it, so I had to take them down before they got to it. The elk only shows up at night, and I actually really enjoyed tracking it, following clues through the woods for a few minutes until I finally found the beautiful beast. What I liked about this mission is that it wasn't just about hunting the elk, but also fighting off the rival tribe at the same time, and taking down that elk was not an easy task at all. Then there was the rescue da mission, which I really liked too. Basically, I captured a guy from a rival gang who knows how to build new bombs, and I decide to bring him back to my camp. But instead of just accepting him, my own tribe revolts. They drag him off and try to drown him slowly. I head out to save him and find him all bruised and beaten, with the water rising around him. I had to block all the water pathways quickly. And while doing that, even a damn betta fish attacked me. Eventually, after sealing all the leaks, I managed to rescue Da. But then there's this minor confrontation with the tribe, a sort of was this the right thing to do moment. And I love stuff like this in games. It's small, but it builds on the whole tribe versus tribe lore. Just because I'm the leader doesn't mean everybody will blindly agree with me. There's pushback, there's resistance, and that makes it feel more real.
Da Mari, Quaida Shwadam Mari. Shaja Shwadam Guaifa.
Taming is a big part of Primal's gameplay, and the first animal I tamed was an owl, but honestly I just didn't like controlling it at all. It works kind of like the eagle in the Assassin's Creed games, but unlike those games where the eagle doesn't feel too drone-like, here the owl feels exactly like a drone with an owl skin. Controlling it felt stiff and boring. It has no real animations, and it takes these slow-ass turns that just makes it annoying to use. I mean, yeah, it's useful for tagging enemies and you can even take down weaker enemies with it, but the controls felt so bad that I barely used it. I can divide my Far Cry Primal experience into two halves, before I understood how taming works and after. I was already enjoying the game, but the moment I tamed my first animal, a wolf, everything just went up a few notches. I pulled off so many cool kills with my beast. And the best part, you can pet your tamed animals. It's safe to say I spent a lot of time doing just that. Primal does a really good job of making you feel attached to your companion. So much so that when my wolf wasn't around, I felt kind of uncomfortable and a little underpowered. Another moment that showed just how much things changed for me was during a mission where I had to take down my old nemesis, the bear. But this time, I wasn't alone. I had my tamed cave lion with me, and suddenly, the bear that once terrified me didn't seem scary at all. The game made me feel exactly how you should feel with a giant lion by your side. I just ordered my beast to keep the bear busy while I attacked it from the side, and it went down in just seconds. I felt so overpowered, I wasn't scared of bears anymore, and that shift in feeling, that's character growth, and I loved it. At that point, I started looking for bigger challenges, and the game didn't disappoint. But before we get to that, I have to mention one little thing I absolutely hated about having a beast. It makes stealth impossible. Your animal just wanders wherever it wants and gets spotted constantly. I would try to sneak around and suddenly I'm getting spotted because my companion is casually strolling into the enemy's line of sight. I would even call them to stay close, but it just didn't matter. It got so frustrating that I started unassigning my beast completely anytime I wanted to go full stealth. I genuinely can't count how many stealth attempts were ruined because of that. Anyways, with my tamed beast by my side, I decided to take down this massive mammoth. Not just a regular one, but one of the biggest in the game. I was confident. I had my tamed lion with me. What could go wrong? Well, I guess everything. The mammoth absolutely crushed my lion in just a few hits, and it did not look happy. I barely managed to escape, and from a distance I saw my lion, down, begging for help. I knew I wouldn't reach in time, but I had to avenge him. I hit that mammoth with everything I had, but yeah, I quickly learned that even with a tame beast, I'm still not the strongest thing in Oros. Now, before playing Primal, I decided to go in completely blind. No previews, no trailers, so I genuinely wasn't aware of some of the game's mechanics. One of the biggest surprises I got was realizing I could ride beasts. I know we can ride cars in other Far Cry games, but I totally forgot that Primal had rideable animals. So when I found out I could ride mammoths and other animals, I was really hyped. Riding a mammoth for the first time was just insanely cool, and the best part, you can actually control your mount's attacks. I was having a blast just whacking the shit out of enemies while rolling through on my mammoth. It felt so overpowered. I was running through enemies like they were nothing. That said, I do wish the game had a third-person camera while riding. In previous Far Cry games, you can at least see the car interior while driving, but here you can barely see anything in first person, which kinda takes away from the experience. A third-person view would have been great, just so I could fully see how the animal moves and attacks. But even without it, riding a mammoth was one of the coolest surprises in the game for me. Some of the best experiences in Primal come from the Beastmaster Hunt side missions. There are 4 in total, one for a wolf, a bear, a saber-tooth, and a mammoth. These aren't just normal versions either, they are way bigger, way stronger, and way more dangerous. Except for the wolf one, which I found kind of okay, I really enjoyed taking down the other 3. Each one felt different from the other. The game really builds up these beasts. You have to slowly track them by searching for clues and following their trail. It's a long, slow process, just like it should be. Then you set traps and wait. Like in the saber-tooth hunt, just reaching the mission area had me climbing this massive mountain and exploring a cave. It was the first Beastmaster hunt I did, and it had the longest investigation time of all 4. After setting the traps, I had to wait until nightfall because the beast only shows up then. When it finally did, man, I realized real quick why it's a legendary animal. Motherfucker was really strong. One hit and I was already in bad shape. But then it ran straight into one of my traps, and I landed a few solid blows, but it didn't do much. After a few minutes of fighting head on and with help of my traps, I finally dealt some serious damage. Then it ran off, and I figured maybe I should have chased it, but no, I waited. Next nightfall, I set up more traps and got ready again. And yeah, it came back. So it was time to end this. A few minutes into the fight again, I thought I was winning, until it turned around and ran again. I chased it for literally 10 minutes, all the way to its den. That's when the tables turned, and the beast absolutely wrecked me. Good news though, its health stayed the same. Bad news, now I had to wait again for nightfall. This time I waited at my camp, ready. It showed up right where I wanted it, and a few hits later, it was done. I immediately got the option to tame it, and of course I did it. The beast was finally mine. He earned a good petting after all that. Such an awesome experience, it really had me completely invested in the whole process. Without going too deep into the details, I also really enjoyed the Mammoth Beast Hunt mission. It takes place in this massive mammoth graveyard with skulls and bones scattered everywhere, and the mammoth itself was absolutely huge. After a few minutes, I noticed the area had a bunch of geysers shooting hot water. I wanted to see if I could trap the mammoth there, and while it just passed over them, it did take a chunk of its health, which was pretty cool. Then it started running wild, destroying everything in its path. Eventually, it made its way into another area with these hanging ice shards that I realized I could use to my advantage. I spotted a hook point and thought, great, I'll just get up there and safely shoot from above. But no, the mammoth ran into the mountain so fucking hard that the whole damn structure came crashing down. The entire fight was super intense and easily one of the best moments for me in the whole game. Now, moving on to something that didn't impress me as much, the combat. Combat in the game is probably its weakest bit. I found it too simple. Now, when I say simple, I don't mean easy or boring. In fact, I actually found it a bit tough at first. What I mean is that there isn't much depth to it, so if you're looking for a real challenge, you won't find much. I struggled a bit with the combat at the beginning, but once I learned new skills and crafted better weapons, that struggle pretty much disappeared, and I rarely died after that. Also, there isn't a ton of weapon variety in the game, and since it's set in prehistoric times, the usual Far Cry style gunplay is obviously gone. Instead, you've got melee weapons like spears and clubs, and ranged ones like bows and slings, and the crafting system genuinely well done. I spent a lot of time hunting for the right materials. You know how in some games we just hoard stuff but rarely use it? Well, in Primal, materials are your currency. You use them for everything. Crafting new gear, upgrading your village, unlocking skills. Everything requires materials. Just a side note here, I actually really like that because at the time there was no concept of currency or trading. So there are no vendors in the game. You can't just buy weapons. You have to craft them using materials scavenged from the world. And even after collecting everything I could, I still found myself short on certain items a lot of the time. And it's not like I was hunting for the same stuff over and over. There's just such a huge variety of loot in this game. Even 15 hours in, I was still coming across new items I hadn't seen before. Okay, back to the combat itself. I mainly used clubs, spears and bows. I didn't use slings much since I unlocked them pretty late, and I had prioritized crafting other tools first. Also, I really liked how after upgrading your weapons, their look completely changes. It gives you that feeling that you have actually done something meaningful to your weapon. You know how in movies or shows, whenever they show a tribal dude, they always have them throwing or poking enemies with a spear. Well, Primal makes you feel exactly like that. When you are holding a spear, you can jab enemies up close or throw it from a distance to take him down. And the most fun I had in combat was definitely landing headshots. When a headshot connects, it's probably one of the most satisfying feelings in the whole game. Spears are honestly the most fun to use, but they are limited in quantity, so for nearly half of the game I had to be careful. I would mainly throw them when hunting a beast, but once I upgraded him, that problem went away too. Now, things I felt were missing, stuff that could have made the combat even better for me. You know how in some games, after a while, you start ignoring random enemies on the map because they are just not worth the hassle. I kinda did that here too. I just felt like there should have been more variety in random events and enemy encounters. There just isn't enough of it. Also, there aren't many takedown animations, maybe just one or two per weapon type, and that's about it. And if you ask me what's something that's not a huge deal but I genuinely enjoy in Far Cry games, I would say the healing animations. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed that in Primal they weren't anything special. Oh, and there's no hand-to-hand combat either. Not a big issue, but it would have been fun to throw some fists once in a while. Now let's talk about stealth. And I have no shame in admitting that I struggled a lot with it in this game. Every time I tried to clear an outpost quietly, something or the other would go wrong, and the next thing I knew the entire army was on my ass. I think the enemy detection here is a bit too brutal. Like I would be hiding in a bush thinking I was completely safe, but no, still got spotted, and yeah, it was frustrating as hell. But as the game went on and I started unlocking more tools like berserk bombs, shards, traps, and fire bombs, I began failing less and less. I use chain kills the most though, and honestly, why not? They feel super satisfying to pull off, and I really enjoyed using it. Just have a look at few of my chain kills. And yeah, that was my Far Cry Primal experience in 2025. It's not a perfect game, but man, it gave me some moments I'll genuinely remember. From beast taming to being humbled by bears. It's one of those games that surprise me in the best ways. If you have played it, let me know your favorite moment. Or if you haven't, maybe it's finally time to give it a shot. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.